I'd like to call this meeting to order this Tuesday, February 11th. The clerk will please call the roll.
Mayor Wolcott.
Here.
Vice Mayor Hall.
Here.
Councilmember Villanueva. Councilmember Williams.
Here.
Councilmember Tandy.
Here.
Councilmember Biendo.
Here.
Councilmember Winters. Thank you.
And if you'll all please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. City Manager's report.
No report this evening, Madam Chair.
The Attorney's report.
No report this evening.
All right. First piece of business, slightly out of order, but I know we have some folks from the Dysart Unified School District here to help us celebrate support Career and Technical Education Month. So in honor of that, I would like to read a proclamation from the City of Surprise. Whereas career and technical education provides students with a school-to-career connection, it is the backbone of a strong, well-educated workforce and fosters productivity in business and industry. And whereas career and technical education gives high school students experience in practical, meaningful applications of basic skills, such as reading, writing, and mathematics, thus improving the quality of their education, motivating potential dropouts, and giving all students leadership opportunities in their career fields and in their communities. And whereas career and technical education offers individuals lifelong opportunities to learn new skills, which provide them with career choices, and whereas the ever-increasing cooperative efforts of career and technical educators, business, and industry stimulate the growth and vitality of our local economy and that of the entire nation by preparing graduates for career fields forecast to experience the largest and fastest growth in the next decade. Now, therefore, I, Sharon R. Wolcott, Mayor of the City of Surprise, Arizona, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim February 2014 as Career and Technical Education Month, dated this February 11th, 2014. And I just want to say, as a council, we have taken a strong stand in favor of career and technical education. We feel it's a very important component in building our workforce, and we're very, very proud to join other cities in the West Valley who are also joining us in making this a Career Technical Education Month. So I don't know if there's anyone here yet. Yes, if you want to come forward, I'd please like to offer this to you. We really do appreciate all that you do for our community.
And we likewise appreciate the support. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right. I actually think this agenda is shorter than it took the time that it took me to read that proclamation. But so we do have a rather short consent agenda with 3 items. Are there any items that any member of the council wishes to pull for further discussion? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve consent.
I second that motion.
There being a motion made and seconded to approve the consent agenda as presented, seeing no further discussion, the clerk will take the roll.
Lit up my other light.
I'm sorry. Thank you very much,
Won't
Roland.
go off.
Unanimous yes vote, Mayor.
Thank you. Next item on the regular agenda.
Local PC, what is that?
This is consideration and action to appoint Xenia Martinez, Taylor Sipos, Alona Hajis, I believe, to the Teen Advisory Commission with the term expirations of February 11th, 2015. And after the vote, Mayor, I would be glad to swear them in, issue the oath of office.
Very good. I'll entertain a motion, gentlemen.
Go ahead, Jim.
I move to approve Xenia Martinez, Taylor Sipos, and Ilona Iliazzi to the Teen Advisory Commission with term expirations of February 11 to 2015.
Second.
A motion has been made and seconded to approve these appointments as presented. Is there any further discussion? The clerk will take the roll.
Unanimous yes vote, Mayor.
Thank you. Sherry, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I believe, are we missing one member still? Okay. We have two of our members here. Won't you come with me? Okay, no sign or call or anything yet? No call from her? Okay, very good. Have you raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name for the record. Do solemnly swear that I will commit myself to the highest level of professional conduct and standards as set forth for the Teen Advisory Commission, and that I will faithfully, impartially discharge the duties of the position of Teen Advisory Commission member, and hereby attest to abide by all official ordinances, policies, and procedures of the City of Surprise, according to the best of my ability. So help me God. Congratulations and welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sherry. And thank you, ladies, so much for agreeing to serve on behalf of the residents of the City of Surprise and the youth leadership. We're so very, very grateful to have quality youth leaders in our city, and you're really making a difference in helping us build a quality city. So thank you very much, ladies. Congratulations. Thank you. All right, next item.
Consideration and action on Resolution 2014-15, authorizing the city manager to approve an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Surprise and the Flood Control District of Maricopa County for the drainage improvements at Martin Acres.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of council. Tonight we're seeking approval of Resolution 2014-15, which is an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Surprise and the Flood Control District for the acceptance of grant funding for the Martin Acres drainage improvements. As we discussed last week, Martin Acres is located at Happy Valley Road and US 60. It makes up this triangled development, as you can see right here. As you can see, the drainage patterns are depicted by the vegetation swath that makes its way through the development. The intent with this project is to provide some flooding relief for these residents, mainly property and roadway flooding. As you may have noticed on your dais this evening, you received a letter from a downstream property owner expressing his concern for the project. Less than an hour ago, we met with this developer, staff met with this developer, and we have definitely come to a mutually agreeable solution to move forward with this project. The city's dedicated to not doing anything to negatively impact his property, and so I think that both parties can definitely see and find benefit with this project. And we are so preliminary in the design of this project that we will be seeking and soliciting input from the development community and the residents as we move forward. So prior to bringing this project back for council approval for a construction contract, please be confident that we will have a mutually agreeable project. So kind of working our way from the north of the project of Martin Acres to the south, here are just some pictures that depict some of the flooding. So this is the ADOT culvert where the water or the stormwater enters the development. This is mid-block within Martin Acres. This depicts some of the property flooding and roadway flooding. and this is the southernmost. So this is the flooding occurring on Norwich. This occurred in August of 2012, and this was about a 2-inch rain event. So this project will be seeking to mitigate 2.5 to 3-inch rain events. So hopefully we won't be seeing this in the future. The funding breakdown, we have $500,000 currently programmed in the FY15 General Capital Fund. We'll be accepting this grant funding to supplement the construction costs, total project cost of $750,000. With that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Any questions, members? Councilmember Winters, I see you fishing for the button, so I'll just call on you.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I know the people downstream, Austin Ranch, was concerned about this filleting we're going to take care of with the drainage system. We talked about it last week, and I'm sure you guys are going to work with them to get this problem. It's not going to impact their property negatively at all. I know you guys are going to take care. I know there's a question exactly where you're going to place the piping. Whether you're going to go around Martin Ranch or you're going to go through Martin Ranch and put the piping in the ground. You're still open on that, how you want to do that. Is that correct?
That's correct, Councilman Winters. We're still very preliminary on in the design.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Biondo?
Thank you, Madam Chair. As you know, this has been in the works for quite some time, and particularly as you show those pictures of some of the flooding that's occurred about a year or so ago when all that water was inundated. I think it's important to note again, as you have initially, that this was never intended to be a full mitigation. It was only intended to be as much as could be possibly done at this point in time. So the expectations that it would take care of a 100-year flood, the project was never intended to address that issue. But I appreciate what staff has done in trying to get to this point, because it has been a very difficult process over the last several months.
Thank you.
Any other questions, members? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve Resolution 20-12, 2014-12, sorry.
Second.
Just for clarification, I believe that's 2014-15.
15. That's correct.
Is that correct,
Yes.
Sherry?
2014-15.
Okay.
Oh, I have 12 on my report.
And there's a second?
Second.
All right. Seeing no further discussion, the clerk will take the roll.
Unanimous yes vote, Mayor.
Thank you. And thank you so much for
Thank
your
you.
presentation. Next item is call to the public. Do we have anyone who wishes to speak to us?
Yes,
this
we
evening?
do. We have Mr. Ken Wright.
I have to read, so I have to have some magnification. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and
Ken, could you pull the microphone down a little bit so we can hear you?
tonight I want to talk about the 100-year water supply and then talk about drought conditions. First, I'll identify the 100-year water supply. The Assured Water Supply Program was created as part of the historic 1980 Groundwater Management Act and operates within Arizona's 5 active management areas. Applicants are required to demonstrate an assured water supply that will be physically, legally, and continuously available for the next 100 years before the developer can record plots or sell parcels. Now I want to read from a document that I just located a couple of days ago. It's the top part, it's from the Arizona Department of Water, by the way. The first part talks about a state drought monitoring technical committee responsible for gathering drought, climate, and weather data and disseminating the information to land managers, policymakers, and the public. There's several other things, but I have a copy for you to read over there. Next, we drop down to the Governor's Drought Interagency Coordinating Group. It's an advisory body to the Governor of Arizona on drought issues, comprised of state, federal, tribal, and non-governmental organization. They meet twice a year to evaluate drought conditions and consider recommendations to the governor. Their next meeting is scheduled for May of 2014. What I have next is the last meeting they held was November 5th of 13. And the updates presented in that meeting talked about confirming that Arizona remains in long-term drought with projections for warmer temperatures. Key points include the following. The entire state continues to be in some level of drought, with only 15% of the state having no drought. Although most parts of the state are experiencing abnormally dry or moderate drought, some areas are in severe or extreme drought. The driest conditions continue to occur in the south central and southwestern parts of the state. Point 2. Although winter 2013 precipitation was marginally wetter than 2012, the Salt and Verde watersheds and the upper Colorado Basin received below average precipitation. Temperatures were warmer in the higher elevations, leading to more winter and snow. The next one is very important when you compare it to the language I read from Assured Water Supply. It is projected that Lake Powell and Lake Mead storage will generally decline through 2015. A reduction in Lake Powell release for water in water year 2014 could lead to a shortage declaration by the U.S. Secretary of the Interior as early as calendar year 2016. The probability of a shortage in the lower Colorado River Basin, that's where we're at, is 43%. We're not talking about, down the line, we're talking imminent. Drought conditions continue to impact forest health and habitat conditions for wildlife. At best, the state is 60% of historical greenness for this time of year, below 40%. The impact of drought on range and farmland resulted in USDA designations for all counties. I'm almost done. The official outlooks for NAA's Climate Prediction Center for January through March 2014 show slightly better chances for above average temperatures and below normal precipitation. The outlooks for June through August show much better chances for above average temperatures and equal chances for above normal participation. There's a couple of points here about the Drought Act, one of them being extended. They started several years ago, and another one started in 1999. So what I'm asking the council to do tonight is to take a look at the first part of this that I read, and then take a look at this from the same office. They're very contradictory. It doesn't make any sense. And I got pretty interested in this, and I'll be doing some more thorough technical analysis of what's going on and presenting it to the council. The reason I'm not presenting it to the water subcommittee is because I think all council people have a right to hear this. Some things may get buried in committee. I'm not talking opinion, I'm talking what people are really saying here. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Anyone else?
That is all, Mayor.
Thank you. So, moving forward on the last item on the agenda, are there any business or future agenda items that council member wishes for us to consider? Next, we'll have mayor and council reports. We'll start at this end. Council member Villanueva. I don't have a report. Council member Williams.
No report at this time. Thank you, Mayor.
Council member Tandy.
Got it. Short report. We had a great, because I love this kind of stuff, budget retreat last Saturday. Got lots of information shared. The staff was able to hear from the council what our preferences were in building this next budget. And that's very important for going forward, give the staff time to see what our priorities are. So I'm still very much looking forward to the process of building the budgets.
Good. Council member Winters.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I had the privilege of being invited to the Happy Trails Town Hall meeting on Thursday. I spoke to the residents. I got a very good reception. Nobody threw any tomatoes, so that's a good sign. And their president was very proud of their community over there. He showed me all over and showed me all the work they did. They're very active to make the whole place very accessible. They installed 6 additional ADA doors. For those who are not familiar with those ADA doors, they're little blue buttons you push and the door opens by itself. And I always say, open says me, and it opens. And they took out a lot of the bathrooms and redid a lot of the bathrooms. They did a really good job. Sunday, we went to the second day in the park, second Sunday in the park. You folks haven't attended those events. You should really try and get over it. We listened to a great rock band called Retirement Rocks. They're a bunch of old folks. And it was a great band. The leader is John Yeager, leader of the band. It's a free concert put on by the city. Thanks to Mr. Coronado and his department for doing that. The second Sunday in the park is really great. One final item. This morning, Councilman Biendo and I had a joint meet and greet at Arizona Traditions. Since we both represent that great community, we agreed it would be a good idea to join forces, and we had a very good, attentive crowd this morning. That's all I have.
Great. Councilmember Biondo.
Thank you. Just as a quick follow-up to that, at the Arizona Traditions meeting this morning, Councilmember Winters and I were able to review some of the information from the Saturday budget retreat. That information is so helpful to us as we go out and speak to our constituents in the various districts. So I appreciate the information, Mr. Hillman, that you and Mr. Wiggenroth put together, because it's in such nice capsules of information for us to speak at the coffee chats.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
Yeah, thanks, Chris, for a good budget retreat. I thought it was very well handled. It was concise enough, spirited enough. I think did we give you some good feedback?
You did, and just to let the council know, per your request, we're working with Ken to make sure all those graphs and all those charts and information are going to be put on our website, so that way our residents can be able to see that, as they need to. So thank you.
Great, thanks, Chris. Just a real quick shout out to James Mecca at Imagine Prep. Councilman Biondo and I went to their science fair and evaluated these science students, 5th grade through 8th grade. Some very impressive stuff, and some great kids, and I appreciate what Imagine Prep is doing, and I want to thank them. Also, I attended the second Sunday in the park, and I didn't realize John Yeager could play the guitar. That's pretty cool, and he's got a pretty good voice too. Yeah, and so thanks to Travis Ashby for coordinating all that for Mark Cardano's group, and that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to chime in as well about the budget workshop. Now, honestly, Vice Mayor, I don't know what you meant by concise, because I thought 8 hours was a pretty good commitment of our day to the budget workshop, to our initial budget workshop. But I do want to communicate to my thanks to the staff, but I also want to communicate to the public that I really appreciate the participation of the full council and the staff at trying to come to a consensus from a 30,000-foot look, because that's really what we were doing. We weren't getting down into the weeds. We looked at graphs that really showed us how competitive we truly are as a city in terms of our tax rates and exactly where we stand on a lot of different data. It was very, very useful. But I thought it was also very good for us to understand that while we've been through a lot and we've come a long way, we still have a ways to go, and we have to take a very disciplined approach to making certain that every investment that we make on behalf of our residents is strategic and focused on the ultimate goal. Yep. And so I do appreciate everyone's discipline in that discussion, because I think it's really, really important. And I know that the citizens are, at least from the feedback I've been getting, is that they're very, very hopeful and very, very positive about the way we've managed the budget over the last 2 years. So I think that's been a great advantage. And again, having that big picture discussion early on, I think, Chris, really made a big difference. So thanks to Bob and your staff as well for preparing a really tremendous budget workshop. Next, I'd like to also, Ken Wright mentioned the issue of work groups and subcommittees, and he has been serving on a working group, the water working group with you, Skip. I think now all of you have received and seen that we've put together a matrix of subcommittees and working groups. I'm very, very pleased at the activity of our council. We now have 7 subcommittees and 6 working groups. This is one engaged council. And I so appreciate this is a commitment of time, a significant commitment of time, and I appreciate all of your commitment to working in that environment. Some of the working groups, for example, the water working group is now becoming a subcommittee. So in fact, that will be those will be posted as open meetings, as a regular meeting of the subcommittee of council members. And so we will have more opportunity to take even public input at that subcommittee level as well. As soon as we can get the final touches on it through all of the assignments, I want to get that posted on the website so that the citizens can see who's working on what projects. I think that would be good to have. So, Chris, if you could help me get that up on our website, I'd appreciate it very much. Next, I'd like to thank the city manager for joining me in a couple of important meetings today. First was the West Valley Mayors and Managers meeting, which we held in downtown Phoenix, or actually in South Phoenix. It was in a part of Phoenix that I've actually never been in. I don't think Chris has either, but we were at the Cesar Chavez Library and meeting with our counterparts throughout the West Valley and Phoenix. It was a good update on what's going on with the legislative session. It was a good update on what's going on at MAG and some thoughts on how we might be able to address our transportation challenges in the West Valley. It was also just a great opportunity for us to share what's going on and to complete some of the work that Chris and I have been trying to lead the way in the West Valley, and that is on a West Valley vision. And I wanted to tell you that this afternoon, Chris and I were joined by an awful lot of folks from MAG, from the consultant Parsons Brinkerhoff, who has been hired by MAG to help all of the West Valley cities create this unified vision. And that is something that's a very big deal. Well, that whole effort was kicked off in the city of Surprise this afternoon and gave us a chance to kind of talk about what the council has come up with, a vision and what we want to see for our city. And then we'll try to work with all the rest of the cities to make sure that we're all working together to create this unified vision for the future of the West Valley. It was a really exciting meeting, great input, and our staff was there to fill in the blanks and answer lots of questions of the consultant. So thank you again, Chris, for helping assemble everybody for that effort. Finally, I wanted to mention that on February 26th at 4:30 in the afternoon at Sun City Grand, we are actually holding a public safety town hall. This was generated out of a lot of folks in Sun City Grand who have expressed an interest in how we manage traffic, because there's a lot of speeding, frankly, that goes on. And I know, Chief, you try really hard to work with our residents to make them understand traffic management, and it's challenging. But because we started off with that issue, we really wanted to talk about public safety in general, because those are very, very important issues. This is not just a meeting for Sun City Grand. This is open to the public, again, at 4:30 on February 26th. At I believe it's on Remington at the Sonoran Plaza, and so hopefully you'll be hearing from not only the chief of police but also our fire chief as well on public safety issues, and it's a pretty broad discussion about what's going on in both our police and fire departments, and I think you'll hear some pretty exciting stuff, and hopefully it'll give residents additional opportunities to ask questions of our public safety leaders. So encourage all those who are interested to please attend. And so that is what I have to report this evening. And so with that, there is no further business. There is no executive session. And so I will entertain a motion.
I move to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded to adjourn this meeting. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. This meeting is adjourned.
First, fast, free. SurpriseAZ.gov is all about what is happening in Surprise. Breaking city news, info from